Episode 3. To scale your business, you only need 3 things. How can creators like us, who are new to building online businesses, who have high value skill sets, how do we scale our monthly recurring revenue, or MMR, to get us the freedom we desire? That is the question, and this newsletter will give you the answers. My name is Boysie Gordon, and welcome to Boysie Talks Business. The last episode was pretty lengthy, 24 minutes. Yeah. So I plan to give you all the same value in half of the time, maybe. I don't know. I kind of went pretty crazy with typing this out, so I'm not really sure how long it'll take to record this one. My bad. We talked about building in public as the key to uncovering hidden revenue, and I gave away my 3-step strategy to crafting a newsletter in under 4 hours. If you haven't, seen it, go ahead and check it out. I did put the link in the article here. In this episode, I want to give you the basic template for scaling a business. So here are the only 3 things you'll need to do it. The first thing is going to be a rock solid business foundation. The second thing is going to be a balanced sales system. And then the third thing is going to be client results. But before we dive into those things individually, there are a few things, I want you guys to understand, really just one thing. So phase 0, when do I scale? Scaling isn't a perfect science, and it puts a lot of pressure on your business. We're talking about doubling, tripling, quadrupling your current, output. So, if done wrong, it will throw everything out of whack. Trust me, I know from experience. So, I'm laughing just because thinking back on it, I made a lot of mistakes with my first business and my first time scaling. I do want to let you guys know exactly what those are. So, when I scaled my first company, it was only the 3rd month of business. I was a salesman, and I was always taught, close, win. So that's what I did. I was a closer. I was great at what I did. And I assumed that was all there was to know. From my perspective, that's all I had done for my whole career. And I didn't really think about the other facets of business and the strategy side. So, that's how I approached it. It was like, okay, this is what I did, and it made me successful in a company. I can just do this at scale, and my business will be fine. Well, there's a bunch of other, factors to consider when you're running a business. So I was very wrong. My current selling point, as you can see from my bios and stuff, I might change it, but we'll see, is 67K to 400K MMR in 90 days. But it was really $0 to 400K MMR in 120 days. So, starting at the 67K makes it a little more realistic, but we scaled from 0 to 67 and 67 to 400 in the total of 4 months, which is way too fast for any first time business owner to maintain without help. Again, I did not have any assistance. I didn't have any guidance. I was just reading books, reading tutorials, and that was it. I didn't have anyone I could go to and get advice from. So to put this in a more feasible terminology, I know the MMR kind of gets people distracted. It was more like scaling from 25 orders to 150 plus orders per month, with each order taking about 3 to 4 days to fulfill. That's a 600% increase in total workload, which is insane, over 4 months as a first-time business owner. Insane. I was missing the strategy necessary to scale effectively, obviously, but we'll talk about that later. For now, I want to share, when I choose to scale, if I had a do-over. Mind you, I did scale again with a more sustainable approach from 150K to 450K MMR over 6 months, but that was after I had already kind of, shot the bed with my business, which that's the equivalent of 50 orders to 150 plus per month, with the same time to fulfillment. So the best time to scale is going to be once you have clarity and confidence in your business strategy. That's, the thing I would recommend, and it's the time when I actually chose to scale and did it in a more sustainable way. It didn't go as fast, but we definitely got to where we wanted to be. When I first started, I hadn't figured that out yet. You come into a business brand new, not knowing exactly what to expect. You don't really know to, think about those things until it's too late and your business is about to crumble beneath you. So if you can answer yes to these questions, you're already ready to scale. So is your business model sustainable? Is your business infrastructure scalable? Do you understand your target market? Do you have the finances to scale without jeopardizing your business? Have you implemented customer feedback loop into your product or service improvement process? My answer to all of these was no the first time. Scaling left holes in my business. Fortunately, I learned my lesson and plugged the holes to scale successfully the second time, but it was an unnecessary amount of pain, and I don't want you guys to go through that. It was not fun trying to figure it out on the fly, pick up all the broken pieces. My business model wasn't sustainable. I hadn't even figured that out yet. My business infrastructure wasn't scalable. I'll talk about that a little bit later. And, I didn't truly understand who I was targeting. I just wanted all the customers. Coming from a sales background, you're told, hey, get as many customers as you can. Now, when you're a business owner, there are only certain customers that are going to be the best customers. When I did scale, I did entertain people who were cheap, who complained about every single thing, even though it was perfect. And it caused me to have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I wasted so much time making minimal margins on those accounts when I had awesome customers who I loved speaking to, who loved me, who didn't really complain and, let me fix my mistakes, who were paying me triple, quadruple the amount of the people that took most of my time, So if I had an 80-20, that would have been a lot easier of a situation to handle when I scaled. So the first thing I want to talk about is having a rock solid business foundation. This is the part that I had to learn the hard way. When I first scaled, I began panic hiring to help maintain the volumes that I was getting. This forced my hand, and I ended up hiring and training on an unsustainable system. Once again, I didn't have a system in the first place, so I had to make one up on the fly. So shortcuts were made to keep pace with the amount of volume that we were handling. And this caused a horrible imbalance within the company. Employees were too specialized, and they couldn't properly adapt as time went on. So when we were out of that wartime period, they couldn't transition into a more all-inclusive sort of responsibility that a smaller business would need. I didn't have 50 employees. I had 6 at the time. So customers complained, business was lost, morale was shot. And this completely affected everything about my business. So mistakes made in the 3 months after scaling cost the company $75,000 out of pocket. That is a whole Corvette worth of mistakes. Look at that fine picture. I could have had that and more, because we're thinking about what it cost the company, but you're not thinking about the amount it could have benefited the company had they been prepared, right? So we're talking about a negative balance, but imagine if they had have been prepared and they could have handled the responsibilities. The business wouldn't have been lost. Customers wouldn't be complaining. Morale wouldn't be shot. And that could have easily turned into hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So I could have had a Lamborghini, right? So just food for thought there. Employees had to either be retrained or replaced. And that is not a situation that I'd ever recommend someone be in. Once again, we're talking about people's livelihoods and also egos. So no one wants to be retrained or told what to do in a way that makes them feel incompetent. And also no one wants to be fired or replaced. It's not ideal for any company. So as a creator, you may not have to deal with employees, but the messaging is still going to be the same. So here's how I recalibrated my business foundation. The first thing I did was I mapped out the entire process. So I analyzed the situation. I figured out, from start to finish what I was doing, because at the time I had no map, had no nothing. And then I leaned it out. So I trimmed the fat. I identified the problems within that. So once I mapped everything out, I just went and wrote it all down on a piece of paper. I looked at where the problems were, or like where our customers were complaining. Like I used all the feedback I could in order to identify the problems. And then I reorganized roles and responsibilities. So then once I found the problems, I started to create a plan to fix them. Reorganizing roles and responsibilities was the problem. So, or roles and responsibilities were the problem. So that's when I executed the plan to fix the problems, right? And then the fourth thing I did was I created a standard operating procedure. I'd recommend this for every single business having one because it created sustainability. Employees could essentially train themselves. I give them a brief intro, and then I give them a book with all the answers, right? And then as they ask questions, I add to the book. No more questions. Just go to the book. You're good. And that just added sustainability. So once you execute the plan, you want to create a situation where it can be done automatically. So whether that be including automation, or whether that be having an SOP, whether that be, whatever you can do to add add sustainability to your process, that definitely helps with the scaling later. And then I went to our clients to receive feedback on the updates and improvements. So I added in a feedback loop. Once again, my original feedback had to come from the complaints. That is still a form of feedback. But when things are going fine, you want to still try to find those things you can fine tune. So I asked my customers to pick apart the bad and pick apart the good. I had a survey that I send out every couple of weeks, and from their responses is what I chose to change within the company. So this took 3 months to fix everything. So it took 3 months for me to recover from that $75K out of pocket that we had to pay as a company. And that's only because I had to learn it on my own, right? Had I looked for guidance and actually gotten help with this, it would have been a lot faster. There's no thinking. It would have definitely been a more smooth transition into, success and having a sustainable system in place. Now, the second thing that you need to scale is going to be a balanced sales system. While this wasn't a major issue for me, I could have definitely done better. Again, I came from a very fast-paced sales world, so organization was an afterthought, if it was a thought at all. My process involved jotting names down on sticky notes, phone numbers in drafted emails, papers that I wasn't using, just scribble something on the back. Like I was just going, I was just trying to get through the calls, 100. And I wasn't really keeping track of the conversations. And, I had a good memory, so I did a pretty decent job at remembering names and, remembering what we talked about last. But it was a lot of stress that I put on myself in trying to do this. Don't be like me. Do it better. Even if you have a good memory, even if you're just as good, if not better, of a salesman, do it better. I was all about cold calling, and it worked for me. I was gifted with the silver tongue. But as I stated in my last episode, I wasted so much hidden revenue. And my sales process wasn't replicable for others who weren't as good as me over the phone, no matter how much training I did. I couldn't teach people to be me. I couldn't even teach people how to be themselves. Like, sales it requires a lot of empathy. It requires a lot of thinking on the fly. It requires you to be authentic, and people will often grasp towards the example and try to be the example rather than trying to implement the example into who they are. And I don't know if that makes sense, but it made sense to me, right? So this is how I do it now. So the first thing I do is the same thing as what I did. I leverage an outbound sales system. Now the twist is that I'd use a CRM or chart to stay organized with my outreach. I did have a CRM, I just didn't use it. So that way I could identify cold leads, warm leads, hot leads without using any memory or trying to find a sticky note or a drafted email or rummaging through stacks of paper that I didn't need to find what I wrote on the back of it 2 weeks ago. With an organized outbound strategy, I'm confident I could have doubled my results easily. Because every sales call I was having awesome conversations with people. And then the second thing I did, the second thing is something I did not do until the second time I scaled. And that is leveraging an inbound sales system. This would involve ads, testimonials, referrals, social media. I always thought my industry, logistics, wasn't marketable because I never saw ads, but that was far from the truth. The truth is that my industry was old school and never leveraged modern day strategies. I'm sure this will change as time goes on. Maybe it's changed already. I've been kind of removed from the industry for a couple of months, so it could have changed already. But I had not seen people leveraging social media marketing and social media ads or just regular ads online to grow their logistical company. A lot of it was just dialing and smiling, knocking and docking, like whatever rhyme you want to put up there. But, had I leveraged that, I think I would have had a lot more simple of an experience rather than having to go out and get sales. They would be coming to me. And sure, I'd invest money in an ad, but once again, you're getting that money back in terms of a long-term customer. These weren't just one-time transactions. If you landed a customer, they were your customer until you messed something up or they found someone to do it cheaper. Now, I'd better understand or identify my target market and invest in the advertisements for places that they frequent. This would be, for sure, a worthy investment since my competition wasn't doing this frequently, if not at all. I didn't see it at all. And my cookies were all about logistics. Like I would see logistics commercials, but they'd be like just a truck on the road and like, we need drivers. Like nobody was advertising to like their clients. It was always to like vendors and stuff. So this would have been an easy differentiator for my company. And it would have made scaling the sales process that much easier. So instead of relying on a sales team, I could have definitely invested some of our profits back into the advertisements and stuff. Number 3 is going to be client results. This last thing kind of ties everything together and is arguably the most important part of this. External perception of your business is the only perception that matters. Say it again. External perception of your business is the only perception that matters. What you think about your business on the interim or inside, I don't even know if interim means inside, but whatever. What you think about your business on the inside does not matter, right? It does. Obviously you're going to be a perfectionist. You're going to want to fix the things that need to be fixed. But in terms of the growth of your business, what you think of it does not matter. Think about this. The NBA seems like this awesome organization on TV. There's all this stuff on the screen. There's people talking and stuff. You go to an NBA game and you realize you just paid $100+ for a high level basketball game. Now, if you love basketball, cool. But if you were just a fan of watching it on TV, it's a completely different like reality. There are no graphics. There's no commentary. There's no HD replays. There's a bunch of cheerleaders. There's a bunch of people who jump on trampolines and dunk the ball. Like it's equivalent to being at a circus with basketball. Like it's not like a super extravagant experience like they make it seem on TV. It's still awesome if you like basketball, but if you were just a fan watching it on TV, it takes away from the amount of emotional appeal that you feel about the NBA. In my tenure as CEO, I worked with plenty of Fortune 500 companies, right? On TV and in the public eye, they seem so huge and organized. But as a vendor working for them, you realize quickly that they're just as disorganized and chaotic as everyday small businesses. Yes, I had companies whose job it was to tell me what to do, ask me what they should tell me to do. Like I can't make this up, literally. It's impossible. So this is proof that client results will supercharge every part of your business. The only reason these companies have such a high regard in the public eye is because of the client results. People look at other people who use them or have been there and they get the feedback and they're like, oh, this automatically means it's awesome, right? So this is how it can supercharge your business. So external perception will make your business look big. Right. So if you're doing awesome and you have a bunch of people saying you're awesome, everybody's going to think you're everywhere and they're going to think you're exclusive or expensive and they'll be willing to pay it because everybody says the same thing. You and your team will have a higher morale. So people are talking good about your company because you're giving people what they promised, which is the second thing, you're fulfilling your promise. You're going to feel good about that. You're going to feel confident about that. And you will feel confident asking for more. So if you've done something and you've achieved the promise that you gave to someone, you're going to feel confident that, okay, I did what I said I was going to do. I want more of this. And you've already proven that you can trust me to do this thing for you. I can ask for more and not have to feel guilty about it. Whereas if you were doing horribly, you couldn't ask for more. There's no way. Although that is a tip. If you do something bad, ask for more anyway. Like so many times I'd mess up in my business and I'd be like, hey, can I have more loads? Or hey, can I have more shipments? And they'd be like, sure. Like no one says no. It's weird, but just always ask for more, but you'll feel more confident asking for more if you know that you're doing exactly what you promised. Your sales pitch will have more conviction. So because you know that it works and because you know that what you're doing is something that what you're selling is the exact thing that you're able to do, you don't have to feel like you're lying to anybody. And just having conviction, hey man, just sign up. Like just sign up. It works. Like I promise you, like it's something that I know works. Like I have all these customers that say the same thing. Like they're all happy about the service. Like it works, right? Saying that in a confident tonality does wonders for conversion. And you can't really, you can make up conviction. Like I just made it up there, but it's harder to do than if you just have the proof behind you as you're selling. You'll have more inbound sales. So once again, when we're talking about adding in an inbound sales system, you're showcasing your client results. You're going to have people that are saying, hey, I want this. Like you've done this for other people. Like, I want this too. And you can charge more per client. So the more people you have saying that your stuff actually works, that just adds to the social proof that you're doing exactly what you say you're going to do, which means that one, people are already going to assume that you're going to charge more. And two, you're going to have too many people to keep charging cheap rates to. You're going to have to charge more to compensate for your own time. So rather than taking on 100 clients, you take on 5 and charge a bunch, right? Make it a high ticket thing. And then the last thing, you have endless content. So every customer is essentially a case study you can leverage to create more content to get people to see your client's results and then also give you more inbound business. And the list goes on. Like it literally did, like client results. It's the biggest thing you can do for your business. And then confidence is a big key to success in business. And the best way to gain that is by getting results, the results that you promised. If you can fake confidence, like right now, I'm faking confidence right now. Let's just think about that. I'm faking confidence. You believe me. You believe everything I'm saying. I mean, it's true. It is based on truth. So that helps. But, it's not like I'm, killing it right now with, my current business. I'm just starting. Right. So, stuff like that it helps. But if you can achieve all 3 of these things, then you will scale without issue. And if you need help getting there, schedule a free consultation with me, a strategy call. We can go through whatever problems you have. I always try to give some value in these calls. It's not really a sales call. It's just like a kind of a proof situation. Like, let me prove to you that I can help you. And then if you want more of my help, then you can sign up. Right. And if you enjoyed listening to this or reading this, whichever you chose, be sure to subscribe for more daily content. I plan on doing these every day. 21 minutes, this 22 minutes, this one didn't feel that bad. So, thanks for listening to the end. I hope you gained something of value from this, and we'll keep it moving. Peace.